It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Good morning again, 1st of October 2019, 8 a.m. CET. Piotr here, meaning this is a pre-London Open live market coverage only here, Light Forex Global YouTube channel. Dovish RBA pushing Australian dollar much lower. There is a possibility of some fireworks on the pound because of the information we get yesterday that the UK government is going to send the new Brexit text to the Brussels by Thursday, either Wednesday or Thursday. Gold is trading the head and shoulder patterns we discussed previous week after the 1485, 1480 been broken to the downside. Well, the last quarter of 2019 officially started. So guys, let's start with the risk warning. Please bear in mind trading effects on margin trading. Crypto carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors. You can sustain loss some or all initial investments, so please do not invest money you cannot afford to lose. Seek education, gain experience before risking real money. However, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Okay. Don't forget, we have the meeting today around the New York Open, 2:15 p.m. CET, and we are going to cover both Canadian GBP as well as US ISM. You are more than welcome to join me this afternoon. In regards to the calendar, Golden Week in China, dovish RBA. 25 basis point cut. In Europe, Spanish manufacturing PMI, Italian manufacturing PMI, French manufacturing PMI, as well as German manufacturing PMI. That's gonna be very, very interesting. UK manufacturing PMI 1030, European CPI flash estimate, and RBA Govlove speaks. So looks like it might be a busy morning in London. Afternoon, as I mentioned, Canadian GDP as well as US ISM, construction spending, and two FOMC doves, Clarida and Bullard. So watch out US dollar reaction after their speeches. Okay, so that's what we have from the calendar perspective. Let's start with Australian dollar post RBA, and let's start with my favorite one, pound Aussie. All right, let's start with the higher time frame here. That's the monthly chart, and there was a rejection after the test of 88.90. All right, a little bit of the rejection, but August and September were positive with upper shadows. So the last line of defense right now, in my opinion, from the Australian dollar perspective, that the market may want to try to create swing high on the monthly chart here, right? So that's what we are testing right now. The high was 83.35, am I right? Yeah, 83.35 and 83.30 today's high. So from the monthly chart perspective, we are testing very important level right now. In case of the breakout higher, 35, 150 pips higher, we might see 86.50, and that's closer to this supply base on this broken swing low, like this. Okay, and that's what might be the target in case of the break of this 83.30 I'm talking about. So that's from the higher time frame. During our morning meeting when we are covering the RBA, I've mentioned that I don't like this upper shadow yesterday because it was the activity of the supply based on what we've seen here, right? But right now we got back above again and we are above yesterday high. So for now it's again positive from the pound Aussie bulls perspective. All right, so it's again positive. And finally intraday broke through the yesterday supply, okay, breaking the range we were talking about yesterday as well. So yeah, quite positive here, looking to buy pullback and maybe 50% of that range from Friday and yesterday. All right, so what I'm looking for is this type of the pullback, and that's gonna be half in case of the deeper pullback, 50% of that range, so somewhere around the RBA action, and the stop is going to be below the post RBA low. All right, the first target 86, second target closer towards 190. Yeah, really looks like there is a chance for some fireworks here, so stay tuned. We are going to discuss over the course of our next meetings this pair. So positive here, but of course, what's the risk event? Of course, buy the rumor, sell the facts. So I do expect a positive tone overall towards the pound in regards to this new Brexit text and stuff like this. But once we are going to know the details, there is a possibility of some kind of the attempt to sell the pound. So be careful here. Aussie USD, the next one, we hit levels related to the weekly open post RBA, 67, 60, 67, 70. Strong sell-off season since then. What is important, the important development is here that we are breaking this 77.88 fib based on this latest rally, right? In case of the close below 67, that's gonna be the lowest close here, and then those shadows we discussed this morning gonna be under pressure. So it's very interesting situation. We were discussing this morning. I've been wondering, in case of the neutral cut, because I think we agreed this morning that the cut was partially priced in, right? Of course, dovish cut wasn't, and that's what we have here. But there was a little bit of the possibility to see Australian dollar rally. It didn't materialize, or at least didn't materialize yet. Aussie is of course also under pressure because of what is going on gold and the whole situation between US and China, right? So yeah. Now we know where we are here. We know that the post RBA high right now is a key level. So let's have a look if there is any chance to try to join this party from the short side. And I would say right now move a little bit higher towards 67.35, 67.45. That's the first level to watch. Australian dollar versus US dollar from the short side, and trying to target 67, 66.80 from the intraday perspective. So those two, Aussie USD as well as pound AUD, that's the two for me to watch for now, unless we are going to switch to risk off on the indices. Then I may try to add Aussie yen to the watch list. Okay, so that's how I see the things. Good morning again. Hello. Let's, as I mentioned, Aussie is under pressure also from the gold side. So let's switch for a second to the gold. Unfortunately, right, the yellow selling supply zone has not been hit. So I was not able to try to trade this short side from that high. Right now we are trading this head and shoulder formation, and we are falling fast. Now how can we try to participate in that move to the downside? Well, I'm afraid that it might be straight move to the downside, but anyway, let's try to check what is going on. Right now the bounce is possible. How high can we go, right? What kind of the bounce we might expect? Well, the first line is of course retest of broken 1485 in that case, right? So the first is the retest of this broken level, right? Now, is it possible that we are going to hit that level? Well, taking into the consideration what we've seen, for example, here, right? That's very, very possible in that case, right? But I'm not gonna be surprised. In case we are going to take the latest price action here as a consolidation phase, right? I'm not gonna be surprised to see retest of the 50% of that zone. In that case, we are talking about these levels here. And Piotr, is it possible that we are going to go that high? Well, it is, taking into the consideration this attempt to go higher ahead of this move to the downside. In that case, boom, okay, 50% of that range. So, you know, for those who are watching me for quite some time already, you know I hate chasing the price. Of course I'm chasing sometimes, and well, I'm not happy because of that. I do prefer selling rallies or buying pullbacks, and that's how it looks here from that perspective on the gold. So either 1485, 1490, or even 1515 as a possible supply. Now, taking into the consideration equal moves, I'm not gonna be surprised to see attempt to bounce back from current levels, but it's not the level I would use as a buying opportunity for gold. If you are looking for buying opportunity on gold, I would wait a bit for a little lower levels down towards 1440, 1415, because that's gonna be the target from the head and shoulder formation on gold from the daily chart. So we might see on the gold, we might see attempt to go higher from the current level, but it's not the buying level for me. I do understand that it's some kind of the support possible here, but no, it's not this type of the support I would like to buy into. All right. So that's how I see the gold. Let's get back to the FX market. Euro dollar, continuation of the move to the downside. How I see the possibility to join the party, if there is any possibility to join the party. I think that the breakdown level from yesterday, that might be the solution from my perspective. So that's the breakout level, right? There was a retest right after the break, so a little bit of the weakness of that zone. But anyway, from intraday perspective, as you can see, that zone, weekly open and Monday high, that's the huge range in between 930, 950. So that's where I'm looking in case of the market going a little bit higher. That's where I'm gonna to look to sell, right? The thing is that it's gonna be very, very danger. Why? Because we are approaching bottom of the channel. We are approaching some kind of the important levels from the higher time frame. From the higher time frame perspective, right? But of course, the direction is clear here. All right, is to the downside. So yeah. Trying to sell the rallies on the euro dollar might be the name of the game. Can we see some kind of the spike on euro dollar over the course of the day? Yeah, we have a few events which might cause the spike today. PMI in Europe, that's the one thing, right? And then during the New York session, we have this US ISM, but don't forget about the Bullard and Clarida FOMC members. So that might produce the spike on the euro dollar. So as long as we are below weekly open, as long as we are below a Monday high, the case here is to the downside towards 108 and a little bit maybe below 108 towards this post-French election gap we discussed for quite some time already. Now, dollar yen. Here, no change in view. Unfortunately, there was no enough dip yesterday to try to join this party to the upside. Still, 109 is a target. That's what we discussed. That's what I've been trying to explain when we had this dip. That its job is not done here, right? And we are going to see the higher levels, and that's what is going on right now, right here, right? So I think as long as we are above daily open, bulls are safe. So that might be some kind of the I've been talking about levels close to 107.50, 107.30. Didn't materialize yet. Didn't materialize yesterday. So right now the daily open and the weekly open are the important actually, because today's daily open is also the monthly open, right? So watch out for this 109 level, trying to finish that business. So looking for liquidity above this equal high here in the mid of September, right? From the intraday perspective, in that case, how can we try to join the party? Looks like we already previous 2 hours, that was the retest of this broken level, trying to go higher from here. Of course, it's a danger game on the dollar yen. I would wait for some kind of the pullback ahead of the New York Open, maybe some kind of the tweet from the President Trump side in regards to the China, right? But China is on a holiday, so there is not much to tweet about. Anyway, in case we are going to see retest of the daily open, that could be the solution. I'm not in rush from the sell side. As I mentioned, levels towards 109. That's what I'm gonna to look for from the selling perspective, right? So let's check one more thing. That was the latest move to the downside. In case of the break to the upside, yeah, at least, guys, as you can see, at least 108.60. That's where we are, probably where we are going to. Would be great to get this like 50% pullback, but as you can see, it never materialized, right? Even on Thursday, the low was above this zone. If you remember, I've been waiting for that dip. Yeah, from the higher time frame perspective, if you remember, we were discussing yesterday the dollar index. There is plenty of space for dollar to go higher from the long-term perspective, as long as we are above 95 based on the monthly close, meaning that we might revisit lower levels, but as long as the monthly close is above 95, there are plenty of possibilities for dollar to go a little bit higher. But of course, I'm more focused. I'm trying to focus more on the intraday perspective. That's what I do prefer, right? Where those distances between the entry and the stop are very, very close. So slow green to the higher levels. Well, in case of the spike to the downside, that might be the opportunity to try to go and try to trade long side on the dollar yen. Cable. Well, I think that because of this. Because of what? Because of this letter, which is going to be sent by the UK Gov to Brussels. I think it might work positively for the pound. Of course, based on the chart only, I don't like this upper shadow from yesterday, right? Looks like market may want to try to take out the yesterday low, but guys, from the bulls perspective, the move to the downside, so 50% of that range. So yes, somewhere towards maybe we are going to hit the stop, yesterday stops, and trying to make the turnaround. Maybe we are going to try to hit some stops around 22. 30, right? But as long as we are holding within that range ahead of this move to the downside, that's the test of the latest weakness on the pound, right? I'm not saying, just to be perfectly clear, right? We might use what is going on pound USD to try to trade pound versus different currencies, right? So in case we are going to hold that levels here on the pound USD, we might use as the indication that pound is ready to rally versus others like euro pound, pound Australian dollar, right? So the thing that we are discussing pound here, that pound is testing some kind of the important levels, meaning that might be indication to try to use the pound to try to trade out with different currencies. So from the intraday perspective, That's what I'm talking about, this latest weakness. So there is a little bit of the more space to the downside, and then we should see some kind of the consolidation from the pound side. Don't forget that we have UK manufacturing PMI, and here is the case that the expectations are very low, 47, so below 50, and that's what is that's the scratch, right, on this possible positive tone for the pound. So watch out for the number at 10:30 CET, and then the pound reaction. And finally, DAX. Now that's the most funny thing in my opinion. The German economic condition right now, and how the DAX looks like, right? What? Wait! Is a German in recession? Come on, DAX is saying completely different story here, right? But anyway, what we have on this German index, it's a very interesting situation based on the higher time frames. So the monthly chart here, right? It's still, I would say, we are around some very important levels. Eventually, how I see the things, that the high from the July might be taken out as a stop, some kind of the stop count, right? But I think the range which has been created in July but a year ago is gonna be the key, because I do think that from the monthly chart perspective, that's the whole supply level here, right? Monthly chart, red color. But I'm gonna I'm not gonna leave it. So that's the supply on the DAX in my opinion. Okay. Now let's switch lower to the daily chart, and from the daily chart perspective, we are also approaching some kind of the possible supply, and it's closer to 12,580, 12,600 based on my chart, right? So either we are going to stop right under, because that's the possible supply I'm talking about from the daily chart this time, right? So green color, okay? So we may want to hit the high from the September, seen on September, penetrating the supply, and that's where the bears should try to take over, right? So that's the very important level from the seller's perspective, in my opinion, here on the DAX. So let's switch to the intraday chart. And that's the very aggressive latest trend line. Of course, we have to take into the consideration the fact that there was the end of the month, end of the quarter rally. So, you know, that's placing the question mark about the further rally. That's the one thing. And of course, that's what that's the most funny, especially when the economic numbers are a little bit different. But it's okay when there is a little bit weaker currency, and then in that case the index, we see the indices rallying, right? So, but not when the economic numbers are weaker. In that case, some were trying to explain the latest rally because of the euro weakness, right? But again, that's what I've been laughing. The German indicators, are completely opposite into what is going on in the DAX index. Anyway, market may stay longer irrational than what we might be able to survive holding the position against the market, right? So as long as we cannot move the market, we might have our view that is completely irrational, but of course we should rather trade what is going on the market than what we think is based on our view, because then, you know, anyway, that's the very important level from the intraday perspective. In case of the sharper pullback on in case of the sharper pullback on the DAX, right? So that's from the intraday perspective. I would look for this stop count eventually. And that might be the solution. In case of this stop count here, what I would like to see, I would like to see some kind of the double top on the smaller time frame, but you know, not the usual double top equal highs, but the second top a little bit above the previous, right? And then the real rejection. Okay, so that's what I would like. That would be some kind of the confirmation that okay, time to take some profits from longs, meaning that we might see a sharper pullback on the DAX, right? So that's what I'm gonna to look for. In regards to the US indices, we are going to discuss them during our afternoon meeting. So trying to summarize, looking for a possibility to try to sell euro dollar, but after some kind of the spike toward the weekly open. Pound USD as an indication to try to trade the pound via, for example, Australian dollar. Dollar yen sharper pullback as a long opportunity, at least that's how it looks for now. Australian dollar very weak based on the dovish RBA, so looking to sell Australian dollar for now. Gold sharper rally, right? Some kind of the profit taking from shorts. Either closer to 1485, 1490, or even higher, 1515 as a 50% of the latest range. That's it from me this morning, guys. It was my pleasure to be with you here. You are more than welcome to join me this afternoon. Again, we are going to cover Canadian GDP as well as US ISM. Don't be trapped this morning during the London session. Plenty of data during the London session, as well as plenty of data during our afternoon meeting. So see you around, guys. Goodbye.